This is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Gary Smith.
GPS, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Happy Thanksgiving weekend. I'm well. How are you, Mark?
I'm spectacular. It's a great holiday. You appreciate everything you're thankful for. And I'm thankful for you, GPS. And
likewise
thankful for everything. It's been quite a great year.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good holiday around here as well. I'm glad you got to spend time with family.
By the skin of my chinny chin chin,
yeah.
But that's a different story. I'm fascinated this week with a legal story as opposed to a sports story. For those who
quite the change of pace for us.
Yes, exactly. And it's one that we covered, and I've come to love some of the participants. I did not send
you this, but I did dig back a little bit into the archives and find a clip that we've played that relates on the show before, if you're inclined.
Yes, please do it, because you'll set it up better.
That does not conflate to a contempt.
In this case, I just want to know who told him this. That's all. I'm not asking him to release or otherwise tell any conversations, but I just want him to tell me that.
And Judge, so that's what you want, but that does not conflate to a contempt. Your desire for him to answer your question does not mean that you have the power to hold him in contempt.
So you can come into court, Mr. Merchant, and not answer a question of the court and not be held in contempt?
If it's a question that the court is not permitted to ask, yes.
Okay, well, this is a question the court's permitted to ask.
And it's our position. If we had a hearing, we could explain to the court why he is not required. First of all, the court accused him of eavesdropping. That is a crime. He has a Fifth Amendment privilege against answering those questions. Rule 1.6 protects all confidential information that is gained not from your client, but in representation of your client. He has the ability to protect that information. But we don't even need to get there, because he can't be held in contempt, and you can't threaten him with contempt for presenting a motion in good faith. He presented a motion in good faith that he believed there were ex parte communications. You are a witness to that, because it's my understanding that you were part of those ex parte communications. They can't be ex parte if you weren't part of them, by nature.
Okay. Well.
You have to be involved. Therefore, you have to be a witness. So you are a witness. You cannot also.
But you got the information. But here's the thing: you got the information allegedly from an improper methodology. I'm not saying that he eavesdropped. Okay, I said that one of the things is it's either one of two ways. He either eavesdropped, which I don't believe he did at all. I don't believe that for a minute, but I do believe that somebody did tell him what was the sum and substance of the court's conversations, and that would not be permissible.
Judge, let's just back up for a second. He makes a motion because he has reason to believe that there were ex parte communications made. The court has a duty, if there are ex parte communications made, to alert counsel. He shouldn't have had to learn it from wherever he learned it.
I think that he caused that particular circumstance. I think that he had a conversation.
So that if, for those who may not remember, you want to set it up. That's Ashley Merchant, who is defending her client at the time, Brian Steele, who had a contempt charge levied against him while he was representing Young Thug in the YSL RICO trial.
Right. And what a difference a year makes. What was the date of that? Do you remember?
I think it's sometime in August of 2024.
Okay. So August 2024, there's Ashley Merchant defending Brian Steele before Diddy, where Brian joined the team with Tenny. Ashley coming off of defending and the ongoing prosecution of the then former President Trump and a host of other people on RICO charges with Fonnie Willis. Now, fast forward, and mind you, she was spot on in that the Georgia Supreme Court ended up not only removing that judge who was there, which was she was asking for, but purging the contempt and saying he had no business doing it, because the argument she made was, to my mind, not just elementary, persuasive and compelling. So then fast forward to this past week, and guess what happened with the Georgia case in which she was the one who discovered the Nathan Wade, Fani Willis relationship?
I believe that all of the charges were thrown out and that Fani Willis's office is on the hook for a bunch of attorney's fees for pretty much anyone involved in the case. Is that my...
I sent you a quote from the dismissal. Do you have that handy? Because I don't want to...
The quote reads, quote, "It's on life support and the decision what to do with it falls on me and me alone. But unlike the members who must make the emotional decision to withdraw loved ones from life-sustaining treatment, I have no emotional connection to this case." That might not be the quote that you were talking about. But that's the quote that
is exactly the quote I was talking about, okay, and exactly what I was looking for. Nothing, to my mind, makes... or brings home more just how ridiculous that case was and the people who were prosecuting that case. Do you have the cross or the clip that...
I wouldn't call this the cross, but I have the clip that you're asking for, I believe.
Okay, please.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
No.
So for those who are just listening and not watching on YouTube, and by the way, youtube.com/reasonable doubt podcast, go subscribe there if you're not already. That is from The Cross of Nathan Wade, but then it has been stylized and overlaid to make it look like he is playing Who Wants to Ask a Millionaire. And that's the reason for the music that you hear playing in the background.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, it's really funny.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that and enjoyed everything. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know Ashley better and better with doing the Megyn Kelly true crime podcast, and she's just fantastic, and she deserves all the success she's had. And with any luck, maybe we'll be seeing her sometime very soon. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like maybe as soon as next week on this very program, we'll have a chance to speak with her. But we'll see how that all shakes out. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Busy time of year for everyone.
Yeah, and you had referenced the attorney's fees. The case was. There was both a recusal, a partial recusal, kind of a tortured background. The judge had originally ruled that they basically got to choose who's going to recuse themselves, which is, it's kind of like a breakup. It's not me, it's you situation. And the appellate court said, no, the office has got to go. Everybody and nobody else wanted to step in on this case. This case was ill-conceived from the get-go, utterly ridiculous. As you know, Gary, we talked about it in real time. And by the way, once again, always disclosing, I understand that there is that people want to do this in terms of which team are you rooting for, or, Democrat, Republican. No, this was under any rational, objective, and now kind of a judicially continence interpretation, ill-conceived in the first place and should never have been brought. And when you were mentioning attorney's fees, that's the only, other than, and this fits in with an argument we've made on reasonable doubt, the only way that you can have prosecutors held accountable, because prosecutorial immunity is so broad, and the SCOTUS historically has given people such a pass on prosecutorial immunity that the only way you can do it is when somebody has to be responsible financially. And in this case, I can't think of a more compelling case for the prosecution to be held responsible. And when I say prosecution, it should not necessarily, obviously by definition, to taxpayers, but whatever ends up being assessed ought to be taken right out of the budget for the prosecutorial office. I mean, it's an argument, Gary, that we made for many years, that there has to be some kind of a
skin in the game.
Skin in the game to some degree.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the penalty? I mean, if you never get punished, it's like raising a kid. You raise a kid. You think if you let the kid just do whatever the kid wants with no guardrails, that you're going to change the behavior. It's never going to happen.
No, you don't. That's not how you end up with a productive member of society. That's how you end up with, someone who is embroiled in this system before long themselves for various reasons, I would imagine.
And for all the people who thought this was, out of the 4 prosecutions, that this was the strongest, I heard that argument on many an occasion, and mind-boggling to me. I mean, it might have been the most involved. It may have been the most Frankensteinian, but the idea that this was a prosecution, a RICO prosecution, maybe it actually exceeds the Diddy RICO prosecution in terms of a prosecutorial Frankensteinian creation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really hope that it works out for the schedules so that Ashley can join us and give us her unique first-person take on it, because she was right there in the thick of it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of ramifications, and rightfully so. And you hope that people course correct and understand that you can't do this kind of stuff. And this is not. I personally have been arguing for 30 years. You cannot inject the criminal justice system as a political or politicize the criminal justice system. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it certainly should be something that's kept separate and hasn't been in recent years. But hopefully this sort of a ruling is going to be, as you said, a course correction. I'm not sure how optimistic I am, but I am certainly hopeful.
Yep. So am I. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, Gary, and I will see you next week.
You as well, Mark. Enjoy some championship college football if you find the time, and we will see you all next week, one way or another. Maybe with a special guest. TBD. Mark, thanks very much for your time this weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Gary.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Reasonable Doubt. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Reasonable Doubt Podcast.